So once again, good morning, everyone. So today I'm going to talk about the story of Malaysian lecturer and students who co-founded a robotic company and exported robot all the way to Mexico. I mean, this is one of the company that I co-founded. I have a few other company as well. I'm going to include some of the story also inside this presentation, so you get a feel how is it to be an entrepreneur. So quick one, Dr. Jasper did introduce me a little bit. I just want to highlight that my interests are in robotics, embedded system. Then slowly recently I just ventured to entrepreneurship. I've co-founded actually more than 10 companies, and most of them closed down. Some of those still surviving. And that is actually what is happening in the real startup world. Out of 10 companies, basically nine basically closed down, one going to be survived. So it's a very interesting journey, but also it's a very challenging journey. So as a lecturer, I also manage a research fund. I publish publication and also have some IP. So my talk today will be on this flow, and I'm going to emphasize more into how to pitch, because I was told that some of you want to see the differences between the academic pitching and also how to pitch for the businesses. And also I'm going to emphasize a lot more on the case study as well that I'm having. What are the challenges I face and what did we do to mingle around it. So before I go any further, I just want to share, I think this is a lot of my colleagues, students, and also my friend asked me, you are the lecturer, why you want to become entrepreneur, you want to build a businesses. So most of the topic they ask, universal research and entrepreneurship, is it a match in heaven? So back 20 years ago when I started as a lecturer, I have never thought that I would become, entrepreneur business, because as a lecturer, I keep on thinking that I should just focus on teaching. Business is totally out of my, our job scope. And then this is some of the common question that being asked. Let's say you are the lecturer, you said, I'm a lecturer, I don't have time for businesses. I do not have funding. I do not have a team. I found a pattern, and won many awards. I went to places, Korea, Switzerland, but then I passed to, the business person, they just don't know how to commercialize my product. Then also a lot of lecturers, including myself back then, I would also say that I do not have business experience. And I keep on complaining that, industry should work with us, and then they just decided not to work with us. Then I would say that I have a great brilliant idea, but they just do not understand my project. So then they don't fund us, they don't buy our product. And then even we always say that sometimes TTO is not supportive and so on. So this is the mindset that normally we had throughout the journey. And what I'm trying to share with you is if you are having this thought, you're normal. But what is really happening is this shouldn't be the obstacle for you to venture to entrepreneurship. So what I try to illustrate back is the question before here. Most of the time, we think this is really not a good match, because as a lecturer, we need to teach, we need to do research, we need to publish paper, and we need to do a lot of stuff. And as a student, it's the same thing, because they need to study, they have to do assignment, project, so on and so forth. So it's kind of like not really match in heaven, And of course, with all these questions coming in, it's kind of tough. So just to give an overview as a lecturer, I think most of you here are lecturer, some of you are TTO and also a student. So in academia world, we teach. So this is one of my classes where I'm teaching embedded system. And of course, they also have an assignment. So when they finish their coursework assignment, they also have a final project. So these are some of the projects that I supervise. Undergrad, postgrad, so you can do a little bit further on the fundamental research and also maybe more complex project. And as an academia, also sometimes we do sharing talk on the latest technology and so on and so forth. So this is what the job scope, some of the job scope of academic now. But of course, during this kind of teaching element and research, there's a lot of innovation come, and that. So this is some of it very crude design, conceptual, and some of this design normally I ask the student just join the competition, because this is where you try to challenge yourself. During my early stages of my career, I just like to join competition. So then I join a lot. I encourage my students to join. Then we even come up with some strategy, how to win a competition. So the top one is a My University 2012, we won 50,000. It's a final year project student. In the middle one is from Microsoft Imaging Cup. So we won 2 winner for 2 track and a few other competition. So this is Robocon. We have been winning. I mean, we are doing quite well for Robocon. And then Microsoft Imaging Cup, we represent Malaysia. And slowly I ventured to entrepreneurship and I start joining entrepreneurship competition. So yeah, again, just like Dr. Jasper mentioned, I won more than over 100 awards. But today, I'm not going to focus about how I won all this competition, but I just want to share with you me as a person, what are the important traits to become an entrepreneur. Back then, when I joined all this competition, you know, I like to join because I like that kind of adrenaline. I like that kind of, you know, I want to win the competition. I want to win the award, first prize, the cash prize, the certificate. That was back then. But for entrepreneur, it's not about that actually. So basically, when I have this kind of aspiration in joining competition, there are certain traits that actually contribute me to become an entrepreneur, which I'm going to share more. So this is, and a lot of friends and colleagues, students ask me, Yong, do you have a secret to win a competition? And I've been trying to tell them that there is no secret and so on and so forth. Then they say, hey, Yong, you could do good lah. You don't want to share, you know. So finally, myself and talked to my wife, Dr. Eileen. Then we came out and said, okay, maybe there is some strategy and tips. So we came up with this 6 step, you know. So number 1, of course, is to register first, then your mindset, determination, strategy, teamwork, and time management. So today, I just want to share a little bit more focusing on the determination. I mean, there's a lot of a term being used on determination. It can be resilient, it can be never give up, and so on and so forth. So in the how to win the competition, so we use this a lot, determination. So one example that I want to show with you is, this is some of the case study. In 2011, 12, and 14, I joined pitching competition, just like, you know, pitching in a very short time to an audience. And back in 2007, actually, I couldn't speak English like right now. Then I went to UK, I improved my English. I'm not saying that my English is very good now, but again, I just want to give you a scenario that back in 2000 and before, my English was not good, you know. So I went to UK, I pushed myself to learn English. Then I came back, I tried to push myself to, you know, to do the pitching. It was tough initially because it was very difficult for me to converse in English to deliver my message. But again, practice made perfect. And for 3 years, I won first prize. And the last year, actually, I won the first prize, and also I joined 2. And the organizer said that they could not allow me to get the second prize, so they gave me the best performance, and I got the trip to Silicon Valley. So this is one of the case study, determination. I couldn't speak English very early on. I trained, I practiced, then I managed to win some of the competition. So the other one was Robocon. So I've been joining Robocon for 6-7 years already, since 2010. And I was a team leader, then I was a team instructor. Basically, when I was an instructor, I was managing up to like 20-30 students. And then we compete in national competition. They actually represent Malaysia to other countries. So to be a robot is very competitive. Sometimes we just don't sleep. So there's a lot of a sacrifice there involved. So this is Robocon. And another story was Robot Partner. This is back in 2004. I mean, this story was, the competition was held in Mid-Valley. You know, then we can test our robot a day before. So we test the system until 5 p.m. The next morning is a competition. So if the robot was working fine, the robot can dance, the robot can react to my meme and do a lot of stuff as a robot partner should do. So at 5 p.m. outside, the robot just doesn't work, you know. So at that time was like 5 o'clock at Mid-Valley, and the robot doesn't move. Should I actually say give up? Should I try out, you know? So back then we don't have 5G. It's 2004, and I tried to ask a vendor because I suspect the DAQ card was burned. So I called him up. Then he said that okay, he can send me a replacement, but it will take him 1 week to send to me. And I say it's impossible because tomorrow is a competition. So then he asked me to try to download the software again. So I did that. You know, back then we don't have 4G and 3G, so I had to go to the cafe and give RM1 and download the software for 1 good hour. So I did that. Of course, there's a lot of challenges in between. So I just want to share that I think about 8 or 9 p.m. at a hotel, I get the software put inside my robot, and the firmware just doesn't work. So it's confirmed the DAQ card was burned. So that triggered me at the position where should I give up? Should I continue? But it's so in the midst of a situation where it seemed like I don't have other option. You know, there is already 9 p.m. and the next morning 8 a.m. is a competition. So myself and my team keep on brainstorm. And finally, we just think that, hey, there's a way to do it just a little bit longer. So then I think I go and buy a printer pod. And there and then I actually design a circuit to connect to the robot to bypass the DIQ and then program the whole morning from midnight all the way until the next morning. Join the competition, show the case, and we won the first prize. Yeah. So this is what I'm trying to say, that determination, resilience, never give up is part of me during the win the competition. And this is also very, very important if you want to become an entrepreneur. So this is one example that I want to illustrate as well. When we say that right now you're in Kuala Lumpur, let's say you want to go to Singapore, the first instinct you will think that, hey, I can take a flight, right? So what other option that we can do to travel from KL to Singapore? So you might think that besides flight, we can take the car, we can take the bus, and we can take a train. So now if I keep on asking you again, if these four options are not available, are there any other option? Then you say, then you keep on start thinking, right? You may say that, no, this is only the four, but you start thinking, yeah, there's the possibility. For instance, you can take a boat, you can take a bicycle, or even you can walk all the way from KL to Singapore. It's possible, right? Just that you need longer time lah. But then sometimes this is also not feasible. In fact, some of the journey is not as straightforward as we wanted it to be, but it could be you take the train to Malacca, you take the bus to Johor, walk to Singapore, and then you get an MRT to the destination that you wanted. So this is one example that I want to share with you. Determination, resilience are very critical because ultimately the end of the day is you want to reach the destination. Similar on these cases, my dream is want to go to Silicon Valley, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and so on. So one of the easiest option is to purchase our own ticket. The price is about 7,000 return. I can't afford it. So maybe I can, join conferences, get supported by the university, do the postdoc there, or join competition. If we look into a little bit details, we can actually get an employment there, join some competition to send you there. Okay, that program maybe. But in reality, maybe you could do is take the train to Thailand, train to France, boat to UK, and take $1 flight to US. I just give you a scenario, just want you to think out of the box a little bit. Because sometimes our mindset is too comfort. We just want to take an easy road. And yep, I actually managed to go to Silicon Valley twice, fully sponsored, and it was a wonderful experience. And now go a little bit detail on the fundraising on the entrepreneur. As a lecturer, when we want to raise fund for research grant, there's one method. But if you want to raise fund for the businesses, it's a totally different kind of concept. But of course, first thing first, the easiest one is to get the founder to give you the fund. Families, bank, and creator fund maybe, So now you keep looking into detail. There are actually other options as well. You just need to lay a little bit harder and a little bit resilient. Then maybe L2M, mostly techno fund, MDV, and maybe in reality, you need a combination of founder first, families, creator, crash mostly, investor, and you get a 5 million fund, right? So again, I hope I give you a picture. The resilient part, the determination are very, very important in an entrepreneur. So that is basically a little bit about myself. What was me like during the very beginning stage. So why I changed my mindset from academic to entrepreneurship. As a lecturer, we are, I think it's the best job ever in the world. I can teach, I can see the student grow from learning something new, got excited. And all of a sudden, when you do business, it's kind of like, I can tell you, sometimes you may have heart attack, it kind of like that kind of a scenario is totally out of comfort zone. So why I want to do that? I keep on asking myself actually. So very early on, like I mentioned, I love joining competitions. So these are some of the competitions I joined. Partner robot climbing, Robocon, Philip Young Inventor Challenge, and so on. So throughout the 2001 to 2010, that is about 10 years. It's all purely research. If you look into the category, I have number of awards because I like joining awards, so I won quite a bit of award there, but none being commercialized. Okay, so these are some of the awards that we won back then in 2000. This is 2004 and 5.
Morning.
Yes, good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I like PD2. Good morning.
This is the product that we designed to translate movement into death. This is back in 2005. In fact, there are three companies came to us say that, hey, Yong, we want to commercialize this product. And I just told them that, no, I just want to innovate. I have no idea how to do business. You just take out and so on and so forth. So that was back then, yeah. And then I went to UK for my PhD in 2007. And that was a shocking period because we don't have enough money to stay in London. I remember that I only have like 850 pounds for myself and my wife, Dr. Eileen, and both of us are actually doing PhD together, but we only have one scholarship. And to stay in London for a small room in London, it costs about 1,000 pounds. So if you try to calculate, basically we don't have money to eat, we don't have money to travel, and so on and so forth. But because of this kind of situation, it really pushed us to think about how to actually grow the money, not to say to gamble and so on, but to invest, to manage the money properly. So I managed to find a property, Zone 4, Woodside Park. If those that in London, you know, I had to travel actually 2 hours by bus. And then slowly I bought a motorcycle from Gumtree and eBay for 300 pounds. Then I travel. I saved like close to like a couple of £100 per month. So from there also I start to learn about how to manage money, but at the same time also how to invest the money to become bigger. So this is where it really pushed me to think of the mindset. And when I was in London also, I had the opportunity to do part-time teaching at Imperial College London. And because I also teach in Malaysia, I can see some differences between the students. I mean, in Malaysia, normally when you ask a student what they want to become, they normally will stay quiet. I mean, when I was student back then, I was the same lah. I was quiet. If they ask what I want to become, I would just say that see how is it? Maybe become an engineer. And at that time, the student in Malaysia doesn't have that kind of fire, the dream. But when I was in Imperial, I asked the student what they want to become. Their eyes sparked with fire. And they say that I want to create a business, a startup to help the mankind. So then it triggered me. Why? I mean, in this part of the world, we don't have that kind of dream, and in UK and Western country, they have this. So one of the things that differentiate between these two, in my opinion, is the success story. In the UK, in the Western country, I mean, people always say that Mark Zuckerberg founded Facebook, Larry Page founded this Google, but in Malaysia, we don't have really a technology company that we can refer to be inspired. So this is really what I try to do. I want to come back to Malaysia and see what we can do about it. So some of the articles came also from the say that does university R&D really create economic growth? And in this study, we showed at Malaysia and found that in this country, very little research could be commercialized. And there are 100 over million ringgit being in R&D, and this is all taxpayer money, So it's kind of a sad that the R&D are not being commercialized. And also this is back in 2019. Industry R&D in Malaysia is only 8.6% compared to Singapore 48% and Japan 64%. So something need to be done in order to improve that. So then I start to think that okay, maybe we need someone to do that. So I asked my student, my lecturer, try to venture to businesses. I think that was back in 2011. And most of the lecturers and students, they saw me, they would run away. They say, Young is a bit crazy now. As a lecturer, he want to do businesses, So I had a hard time in that 2 years because, to be honest, during that time, I don't want to do business. I think it's important to have that. And I at that time, I think that I couldn't do it. So I need someone else to do that. So I just spread the news that, hey, spread the so-called proposal. We need to have a success story. So for 2 years, it was tough. We couldn't get any. So then I said, I tried to do it lah. Since I have won competition before, I mean, do the business shouldn't be that difficult, But when I start doing the business, it's quite different from joining competition. Because competition sometimes lasts only for 1 year. In businesses, it's like you are actually, have a baby, then you need to feed, you need to teach, you need to grow, and this baby can grow eventually. And when this baby become a teenage, he has all kind of a behavior that you need to handle. So that is business. So for me, at that time, I don't really have some kind of this kind of knowledge. So I start to think, what can we do? So I need a mentor. So I start joining all kind of, okay, I didn't have that. So from there, I start to join talk accelerator program, and UTM at that time have a very good program called SRI. So they flew all the way from US to teach us how to do pitching, how to do business. So it really helped. And from here also, from 2011 onward, beside the award that I won, I also start to get revenue from 50,000 to 500, and back in 2016, I get 5 million revenue to the company. So I just want to summarize that what I'm trying to share. This is from the Forbes. It says that they actually interview more than 2,000 CEO. What are the most important attributes in an entrepreneur? The top 5 are actually the vision, the work ethic, resilient, like I mentioned alone, the determination is very important, positive and passion. These are the top 5. So today, if you're the lecturer, if you are the TTO, if a student, if you want to become an entrepreneur, so please at least to have these 5. So because this is most of the CEO around the world have these 5 important traits. Now you may ask me, hey, Dr. Young, how can I, train myself to have this kind of 5 so-called trait, right? So according to Founder Jeff, uh, you can develop this kind of entrepreneur mindset. For focus and vision, is really you have to imagine and visualize the big picture and create a smart goal. Most of the time we just think, but we never really try to achieve it. So the goal has to be big. For instance, let's say for DF automation, we want to build a robot that's going to conquer or market the whole Southeast Asia. So you start to think first. Then you start to work on how to achieve that. If you still remember where you are and the target you want to go, there's so many paths you want to do. So first thing first, you need to focus and vision. Then accepting uncertainty, you need to be very resilient. I mean, you fail, you need to stand back up, resilient and perseverance, and so on and so forth. So these are some of the proposal or a guideline how to develop this kind of mindset. Yeah. And for myself, I'm very lucky because in UTM, the top managers are very, very supportive for my entrepreneurial journey. Although I can, to be truthful, to be very honest with you all, sometimes the policy is not so encouraging for academy to go for entrepreneurship. But again, as long as you have a strong support, then you just go ahead. And you have to really mingle all the obstacles to do what you need to do. And then these are some of the meeting that I had with the ex-VC of UTM, Dato' Wahid. Then beside that, in order for you to push, you need to mingle around with all other entrepreneurs. So I joined Bismarck Aligned Banks. I met Tan Sri Lim Kasen. He actually mentored me how to do business. Dato' Ame from My Day. And then I joined Magic East Stanford. So this is, again, I had a great opportunity to meet other CEO. I can tap into what were they thinking, They are really different kind of person. And every CEO are very different. Okay? And of course, I'm very fortunate to visit like Finder Startup, Google, Airbnb, Facebook, and all this give me a different kind of a perspective of what entrepreneurship and startup is. It doesn't mean that you need to go there to start a business. Yeah, I mean, I just want to share with you, everyone journey are different. Okay? So then at the later stage, most of the competition I joined are business related. So it's impossible if you don't have a business, but then you want to learn, it's all possible. Yeah, and recently we won this Best Innovation Award from the Star Outstanding Business Award. Yeah, so that basically is a mindset change from as an academia, what I changed to the entrepreneurship, and also what are the important traits that need to be have. So for innovation, I will touch a little bit. So what is innovation? Again, I think we all know innovation is a new idea, creative thought, a new imaging in form of device or method. And such innovation take place through the provision of more effective product, process, service, technology, or business model. A lot of us think that innovation is only one on the product itself. We always think the product is the only innovation, which is untrue. There are actually 10 types of innovation. I repeat, there are actually 10 types of innovation. So in this category, you can see that there are 10 types. Number one is actually the profit model, the network, structure, process, product performance and product system. This is product. Then on the right side, service, channel, brand, and customer engagement. in this kind of a tech innovation, you can see that from the left side is more towards like back end, the business model, the network, the process. Though on the right side one is all toward to the customer, the marketing part, how the customer feel, and the middle one is the product. So these are the 10 type of innovation. So if you look into this example, Dell, their focus is not on making a better laptop. I mean, they are not focusing on the offering. They are actually offering more on the business model, how they actually make money to sell you laptop. Okay. The other one is Starbucks coffee. We always think that Starbucks coffee is all about good coffee, the product, which is not. The Starbucks very focusing on how they have a very good process, regardless where you're in Malaysia, Japan, Korea, or in the US. When you drink the Starbucks coffee, you get the same experience. The taste also the same. So this is their innovation. And Amazon, of course, they are very innovative. They came out with one click to buy the stuff. So it's not about the offering, but it's about their back end, how they actually come up with a very good system to connect with all the vendor and whatnot. And if you look into the offering, of course, we all know Intel. This is very hardcore product. Then on the delivery, Apple is a very good example. They give you customer experience. Steve Jobs always said that the experience that counts, not the product itself, Then, of course, there's a brand and channel. So again, I like to re-emphasize here, this is very, very important because most of the colleague students that came to me said that, Yong, I don't have innovation. I don't have a product. But actually, innovation is not only on the product. There are 10 types of innovation. And in fact, some of the business that you do may involve multiple innovation in these cases. Okay, the next one will be interesting. So this is according to the study from Dublin. And this is an investment being poured into which innovation. From this so-called figure, you can see that there's a lot of investment poured into the product performance, means product, okay? Very less into the finance, process, and delivery. But which one gives you the highest return of investment? Most of the time, people will think of the offering. But in actual cases, the one that gives the highest return are actually from the finance part, the business model, and the networking, followed by the process, delivery, and also the offering. So this is something you need to think of. Sometimes it's not all about the product. Sometimes it's all about the business model. If you try to think of a printer right now, it's not about the printer. They want to earn your money. They actually earn your money from the ink itself. So this is a business model innovation. Okay, then people start to ask, Yong, how you come up with so many innovation, right? I mean, there are many methods out there. Sometimes we think a little bit too complex. In industry and market, sometimes we want to make it very simple. I think you hear about this KISS, KISS, keep it simple, stupid, right? So we want to keep it simple. But of course, you have a lot of other methods out there how to come up with innovation. So this is one method by Center of Creative Leadership, 4 steps. So number one is really to clarify. Clarify means what? We want to understand the problem statement, the challenges. You go to the site, you ask people, you see, you get all the data, then you try to frame it whether this is a new opportunity or not. Okay, clarify. Once you have that, then you try to ideate. Do I have a solution for this? What kind of a solution I can do? So you come up with a lot of idea. Right, you have an idea, then of course you try to develop it. You develop not just a product itself, but it's actually the whole ecosystem. You develop the product, but at the same time, you need someone to manufacture it. You need someone to deliver it. So this is all the development of the business model as a whole. So once these three are done, then finally it's all about implement. You doing it. You make an alphabet version, you send out to the customer, then get the response. If this do well, then you do mass production. So again, this is a 4-step, one of the method to innovate. Okay, the next topic I want to talk about is how to pitch. And I was informed by Dr. Jasper, he want me to emphasize this a little bit more. So I prepared something, hope it actually show you the importance of how to do pitching in businesses. So what is pitch? A business pitch is a presentation to an investor to raise fund, okay? Or this pitch can also be directed to seek for partnership, businesses, customer, even team member, And the common mistake pitch from lecturer or student often focus too much on the technical portion. You keep on saying that my technology is so good, we use PID, we use neural network, we use blah, 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 but you never touch the business at all. And the whole reason because we are not being in the culture ecosystem to pitch that way. So I give you one example. So this is a CR2 haptic that my student built to help the stroke patient to recover. It's basically a robot, right? So if I were a lecturer student to pitch as a normal academic presentation, I would use my minute to pitch here, yeah? I will pitch this way. Rehabilitation robotic is a growing field to assist patients to regain movement. Auto A have developed robot XYZ using method X and the results are encouraging. Auto B use method Y and the results are not as good. Then we have Auto C, D, and E. They have done this and they're wonderful, right? So methodology. From the literature review, we have come up with a novel design of a rehabilitation robot using advanced sensor and motor. It also used neural network for the learning. The experiment, we carried out a clinical study involving 6 stroke patients, and the experiment ran for 6 weeks. We have a control group, we have a group that used a robot. The result, the stroke patient who used the robot have shown better improvement with significant result. Conclusion, rehabilitation robot does help an assist robot patient to rehabilitate. So this is a very common presentation from the lecturer perspective or academic perspective as a student perspective, right? So now, how to change this into the business pitching? Again, there's many methods out there. So I'm going to propose you one of it, which I use very frequently, is SRI NABC approach. Okay, it's a methodology to develop a quantitative value proposition, the first step in value creation. In all the businesses, you need to know what is your value creation to the customer. Okay, and they use the NABC. So N stands for needs, A approach, B benefit, C is the competition. If you look into the helix, it starts from the, again, it's a need, then unique approach, unique selling point, your customer benefit, then you go to the competitive advantages, then it's a quantitative value proposition, then your business plan. So this is a very, very first stage. Some example, what's the need? Most of the people say that the market is fast, the market is big, but you should be more specific. Our market segment is $2 billion per year and growing at 20% per year. Approach, you don't want to just say that we have a clever design, full stop. You may want to be a little bit more quantitative. We have created a one-step process that replaces the current two-step process with the same quality. Benefit, most people say that my design is perfect. My results are very good. The ROI is excellent. You should be more specific. Our one-step process reduce our cost by 50% and the result in an expected ROI of 50% per year with a profit of 30 million in year 3. You know, and competition, we always say that either we don't have competition and we are better than our competitor, but you have to be more specific. Our competitor is Evergreen Corporation, which uses the current two-step process, and we own the IP for a new process. So when you frame your pitching, business pitching like this, the investor, they will feel confidence and they will invest to you. And this is also, again, this is a paid worksheet from the SI. Beside the NABC, if you look in the top there, there is a hook. So when you do present, sometimes you want to hook the audience to listen to you. And then the last one in business pitching, normally you have asked, are you asking for money? Are you asking for partnership? Are you asking for anything, advice, consultancy, and whatnot? So you have a hook, you have NABC, and you have the close. So back to this one, pitch your business in 1 minute. On the left one is the academia ways of presentation. So I will show you on the right one, how to pitch in business in 1 minute. 52,000 people suffer stroke in Malaysia every year. This is a huge problem. And rehabilitation can help to regain their ability, but we don't have enough physiotherapists to cater such a huge number. We have designed and developed CR2 or compact rehabilitation robot to solve this problem. CR2 is a portable and affordable robotic system to be able to help stroke patients to train with virtual reality. And with CR2, stroke patients can train 100 times more compared to the conventional. There are several rehab robots out there, such as Gentle S, MIT Manus, and Amio, but they are expensive and bulky. We are looking for 500,000 and your support to grow these businesses. Thank you very much. So now you can see the differences. I hope that you can see the differences between the way the academia to do the pitching and to pitch business pitching. Yeah. So in business pitching, the duration of the pitch can be ranging from 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or up to 1 hour. depending to the purpose of the pitching objective. So 1 minute normally is you just want to touch and go whether the panel are interested on you or not. 1 hour is already want to close deal already. They want to know more. So here I'm going to share with you 2 pitching that I have. So this is a pitching competition at Newton Fund Leadership in London, UK back in 2017. So with you, we have Dr. Jasper as well, Prof. Fatima and a few other colleagues here. So the competition is 3 minutes and I will show the slide now. And I will try to pitch as I'm in pitching session. Good morning, my name is Yong. I'm from Take Care Innovation. 15 million people suffer stroke every year. And the good thing is they can recover back by the commercial training. But in 1 year, they only can do 48 hours due to the limited physiotherapy training. But the good news is rehabilitative robotic can help to improve the training by 23 times, whereas they actually add 3-hour robot training per day. So there's a lot of robots out there, but unfortunately, these robots are huge, complex, and very costly, something more than $100,000. So this is our product, CR2 Haptic, a compact rehabilitation robot for wrist and forearm training. And the robot compared to other competitors, they are huge, complex, and expensive. We are only selling $8,000 and we are affordable and portable. The market size is huge. The global home healthcare market size is about 244 billion. The one that we target is about 200 million. And we already have a collaborator partner from NASAM, Hospital Sedang, MyPhysio, and so on and so forth. The business model is very straightforward. We are selling to the distributor at $5,000 and they will send to the end user about $8,000. Our raw material cost at this moment is about $1,250. So it gives us a very good gross profit for our marketing activity and other R&D. And we already have a few distributors who are interested to distribute our product. And yay, we have first sale to China, 5 units. And now actually we also sold to Thailand and also India beside Malaysia. So these are the roadmap. We started back in 2010 and we have a CR2. We also have a feedboard and we plan to have more product throughout this journey. So what we are looking for is an investment of $100,000 for 10% of the company equity and forecast to have a return on investment of 10 times in 5th year. Thank you very much. So this is one of the pitching that I did for 3 minutes for the competition Newton Fund. And well, I'm quite lucky for this competition. I won the first prize. So you see the exactly slide that I presented that won the first prize. And this is the same project that I pitched for other fundraising, other competition. And this one we also get CREST fund for 500,000. Okay, so this is a 3-minute pitching. The next one I'm going to show you is a bit longer. Example pitch for DF Automation Robotic. We try to raise funds for actually 3 million via equity crowdfunding using pitching back in 2019. This is the 30-minute pitch. I'm not going to pitch to you, but I'm going to show you the slide so you can get a rough idea what should be in the slide. Okay, so this is my first page, and I start with the problem statement. So our customer are manufacturing plant, which is huge, 20,000 square meter, and there are thousands of goods are being moved daily. Normally, they rely on operator to do the job. They need to push 500 kg, walk up to 3 kilometers. And this is a low-skill job, human factor, and cost. And of course, they can use robot to do the job. But unfortunately, in Malaysia, it's very difficult to get this robot because they are difficult to program, not flexible, and costly. So that's why we come up with our own robot called Zalfa LGV. And more importantly is it has the AI to program the robot. And NetWiz is our asset or IP to program all the robot to be more intelligent. And this is a robot. So what the key value is return on investment between 2 to 4 years, reduce labor reliance, it can be customized, and Industry 4.0 enable. And this NetWiz software that we have, not only we can do for Zalfa robots for the manufacturing industry, we also do for sushi robot delivery. Okay, and this is some of the picture. And then we also do for other applications by using the same NetWiz. So this software can do a lot of a different business vertical. So these are some of the case study with our customer. And our roadmap is actually, when you look back in 2015, our robot looks like a moving toolbox. And eventually now our robot look a bit nicer. And moving forward, we actually come up with a more sophisticated robot even to manage the whole warehouse system. So this is our fleet of robot, and we are everywhere, especially in South Asia. We also in Mexico, and we just penetrate to Europe. And these our customer mostly are MNC. We started with electronic manufacturing, then we went to automotive. Now we are actually in different industry, including government, aerospace, F&B, and so on. So this is our pattern and IP. We won award. This is a market size. This is competitor. So Daifuku selling about 1 million ringgit. Then we have a lower end, and DF is actually in between. So this is a comparison with our competitor. The market opportunity, our finance projection, merger and acquisition. Then co-founder, myself and Ricky and Ping Hao were my ex-student back in 2005. So we are the 3 co-founder. Then we are supported by a board of advisor. So these are the current team. And this is what we ask. We want to raise 3 million. Every share is about 285 ringgit. One minimum block is 5,700. Then this is the offer. And the fund are going to be used for factory expansion, R&D, sales marketing, working capital, and talent. And DFU live on pitching on 15 July and I already passed. So a bit of a disclaimer. And then I put the last slide, driving the future of robotics. So this is the slide that I presented for 30 minutes for all the potential investors. So what is the outcome? The outcome is actually, we have raised 3 million within 1 month time from 177 shareholders. So again, this is a business page. And the same slide, I would say a little bit of a modification. We also raised mostly fund for 2 million ringgit and also cradle from very early on 500,000. So I hope this gives you a little bit of perspective. What is the difference between business pitching and also for the academia pitching? Now, BMC. I'm not going to touch this a lot because I believe that in most of the university you learn about business model canvas. So right after you do the pitching is just a very summarized, compact to tell to the investor or customer or business what you are doing. Business model canvas is actually as an overall your business. You can think this is like your black box of your businesses. So of course it all starts from the value proposition. What is your value? What is your product? Then how you reach to your customer via the customer relationship. Then the channel as well. Finally, you have the key activity, key partner, key resources on the left side. And on bottom, you have a cost and also the revenue. So this is a more business model canvas. One example that I can take is iPod. The value proposition is endless music experience. Okay. The customer segment is actually basically everyone that has they want to buy the devices, mass market. How to reach them? Via the retail, apple.com, Apple Store. How they actually manage a relationship, they use the love mark is a new way of a customer relationship. So this is again on the customer side. On the back end one, you have the key partner, the record company, definitely. You have the hardware design and marketing on the key activity. And key resources is all about the Apple brand, the people, the INTU, and the content. On the bottom one, of course, is the business model. What is your expenses on? You pay your employee, manufacturing, and sales marketing. On the bottom right, you have your revenue stream, how you make money. Revenue from hardware sale and revenue from music. So this is one example of business model canvas. I will not go detail on this. You can actually Google. There's a lot of information in this business model canvas. Okay, I'd like to share a little bit. I need to check my time. Oops, I have maybe 5-10 minutes. So I'll share a few of a case study. Just a quick one. How myself and my student venture the business. I have touched that a little bit. Now I want to go a little bit deeper. So as a lecturer and a student, let's say you are the student, you want to build a businesses. Normally, after you do the degree, you want to work for 3 years first. The reason is very simple because you want to get experience and some funding. After 3 years, then you work for businesses. Businesses, normally you may take 3 years to get some profitability. I mean, first year is trying out. Second year, you optimize it. Third year, you can see whether this business is the right one or not. And it takes about 10 years time. And most of the time when you work for 3 years, this is a real scenario. The third year you get married, then you say, yeah, next year lah. After next year, you get a baby. Then you say next year lah. So when that happens, actually you are not going to do the business anymore. So this is the option one when you want to do business. Right after degree, you work first, then you do business, which is quite challenging and take more time, yes. The second option is, why don't, right after we finish, we do business? But again, you need some capital to run the businesses. For instance, you need to rent a place about 2,000 per month, 1 year about 24,000. You may want to hire 1 or 2 people. Let's say you need at least 50,000 to start the businesses. And let's say, again, 50,000 as a student, you don't have money. You still need to pay PTPM. Maybe you ask from your papa and mama for the money. Then when you get the money, as I mentioned earlier on, the business maybe take 3 years or more to see the result. Let's say you do the first year, you go back home for Raya ke, Chinese Year or Deepavali, then your mom asks, where's my money? Then you say that, okay, the second is going to work out. Let's say the second doesn't work out, your mom asks again, then the third year, your business, let's say doesn't work out, touch wood, then you don't dare to go back already. So most of the time, we try not to borrow money from, family. But in these cases, it's kind of a challenging because let's say you want to, right after they do the businesses, where you want to get the fund to start the businesses. Let's say you have, they will take you 7 years. So then I told myself and my student, why don't we start during the degree? As a lecturer, we have research grant, and you have to do your final project for 1 year, man. You have 1 year to do the final project. Why don't we just leverage that to fulfill your criteria to do the final project, but at the same time to venture, is it possible to become businesses? And as a lecturer, I have fun, and I have some KPI. I need to write paper. From there also, we can generate some paper and IP. So it's kind of a multiple leveraging on one single direction. So I want to share about this case, Tech Innovation. Again, IoT healthcare is huge, So Kang Xiang, my final project student, came to me and said that, Yong, I want to do FYP with me. I said, Ken, number one criteria, do not treat your FYP as a FYP. I repeat again, do not treat your final project as a final project. I told him like this. Why? Because if you think that this is a final project, you have 2 semesters. The first semester is about design. You don't do anything. The second semester, then you start to build the stuff. If you have this kind of mindset, then you are not going to go fast. Then I asked him, you really, really need to treat this as a real businesses. If you are taking a project to the customer and you ask, customer, when do you need this robot? You know what the customer says? The customer will say, I need this solution or robot yesterday. I cannot wait for 1 year. So I keep on telling Kang Xiang and the team, do not treat your final project as a final project. So from this perspective, he think a little bit. Then he went to the industry. He went to the hospital, NASAM and see, and he felt it. One of the things that he saw is a young gentleman got a stroke, and he dragged his leg. And that particular hospital only uses a very basic fundamental rehabilitation tool. So it really triggered Kang Xiang say that I'm learning technology. Why don't I build something for them? So this is back into the patient. So from that day, he started in October 2012. Within 1 month, he built the robot. Within 1 month, he joined the competition. He won. Oops. So within the first 2 months, he already joined the competition. He won 50,000. And then throughout that 1 year, he actually joined all kinds of competition. And every competition he joined, I asked them, you need to improve because it's all about businesses. And that 1 year, he won more than 20 awards and he has a product. So right after he finished, then I asked him, do you want to continue to do business or not? So at least we have an MVP product already during his final project. This is an example of his story, Dr. Call. First year and third year is about skill learning. Then went to the market, understand the market. You had the first prototype, then you won some award, join competition, being asked tough questions, improve yourself. Then we start this UTM spin-off company, Take Care Innovation. And now we actually is everywhere. We sell healthcare product. We also do our own R&D. And these are some of the showcase that we did to different prime minister. And some of the perspective that as a student, when you join this competition or you join this entrepreneurship final project, will be very tough for your academic. If you look into 3 of them, Koh Kan Sang, Patrick, and Fu Sun Kwan, there are 3 of them together working on this project. They actually got first class, and Dr. Koh actually won a Vice Chancellor Award. So what I'm trying to say is, it's actually possible to balance out in your academic while doing entrepreneurship. So these are the project.
CR2 Haptic is a compact and portable rehabilitation robot, which provides exercise training for forearm and wrist movement. The device can be used by elderly people, stroke survivors, and others who need rehabilitation training or exercises for the hand. The robot encourages and motivates the user to perform more training by providing various engaging virtual reality games for them to play while training their hand. The compact design of the robot provides optional modular units that can be used to train for different functional movement in limited space to fit for various users' need. The robot also provides an assessment program for evaluation of hand movement in terms of the movement range, strength level, and game performance to ease the therapist assessment process. The assessment result will be recorded in the report enable user to review with the progression of time.
So yeah, this CR2 haptic that I mentioned. So moving on, of course, we also want some media coverage. The roommate, I think you saw this earlier on already. So now I want to share about the second case on my entrepreneurship DF automation. I already pitched that, so I'll share with you about what they've done. So this is a robot that being used in some of our customer in Vietnam, Penang, Thailand, India, and all the way to Mexico. So this is another example that we change that robot to two new robot. Right now in Sushi King, a few sushi in Malaysia, and also in Philippines. So normally when you're in sushi restaurant, normally you order a special food, the chef bring you the food. But this one we use a robot to serve. So all use the same technology. Press a button, robot. I mean, this is where the innovation comes. So one of the example I want to share is Nick Ahmad Faizal. He actually was my student in my class. I'm teaching embedded system, and he also my final project student. He joined Microsoft Image Cup. He won first place in Malaysia and represent Malaysia to Philippines. And he also do some internship at DF Automation. So once he finished, actually he joined DF. Right now he's a R&D actually manager. When he joined DF back in 2019, within 6 months, actually we sent him to Mexico. So again, I just want to share that our talent in Malaysia are actually has a huge talent. They can do many, many wonderful things. So Nick is one of such a talent. And of course, if you are a lecturer in university, you can actually see all this talent before they, run away, fly away to other country. Just want to go quick on this DF automation. Again, this is innovation. We know MCO was hard. Back in March, DF cannot open the businesses. But then we think that we can do something for the country because frontliner was overwhelming. The infection was increasing. The PPE, we don't have enough PPE. So we say that we can do this kind of a robot to help. The DIV robot to send food, disinfection robot, or telepresent robot. Then this is a collaboration with a few organizations, and all of a sudden we just been featured. The robot become a wider the big called Machikia robot, and then we are in media, newspaper, and I just showed the last slide called Machikia 19. That's how the robots look like, and we actually designed the robot within 17 days. So if you still remember about the innovation, something is not about the product. During we develop this product, there's a lot of process innovation involved. how can we make it faster, quicker, at the same time also deliver the function. Okay, I mean, during this 70 days, we have thousands of WhatsApp messages, hundreds of concept design, a lot of video conferences. Then we produced a Machikia 19 in 70 days. So even after that, we didn't stop. We showed to YB Kari and Dato Siti Hamisa from Mosti. And we also got a tweet. So back again, the innovation, if you still remember, there's one is on the marketing side. So if I would want to, ask KOL to help me to blast something out, I need to pay like a lot of money. So this one is like a very, very powerful marketing for us. And then we sent another robot to MIPS within 2 days actually. And I will show this video.
Have a nice day. Your food is here. Please take your tray. Thank you. Hai. Makanan Anda telah sampai. Sila ambil dulang yang disediakan. Terima kasih. Have a nice day.
Yeah, so that is the Machikia that become a DOE at MICE. And what really happened is this robot has served 53,000 meals and covered about 35 kilometers and served more than 1,300 patients within 3 month time. And this all project started back in March 2020. Now, actually, we're still working on the project. In fact, if you see the evolution of the design, this is Machikia 19, very crude design. DOE that you saw earlier on MIPS, and now we have a more cantik robot called Machikia 19. And this is a project also supported by NTIS, National Technology Innovation Sandbox, and we got a chance to show to Tan Sri Muhyiddin, our Prime Minister, YB Kari, and also Dato Siti Hamisa. So that's the bottom is our team and the latest robot. So right now we're actually discussing to send the robot to a few other hospitals so at this moment. And just want to share a bit on the backside how DF started. So again, myself and 2 of my students, Mr. Ricky and also Ping Hua, we started this business. Then we recruit more, also my ex-student. Then in 2015, 85% of my ex-student, this is on the shop lot. And then we start to grow. Most of them are actually has an aspirin Robocon because I need someone has a technical skill. And yeah, then 2017, I start to hire other students because we need more talent. And now in 2019, we have about 60 staff. The team are still growing. So yeah. And this is how it looks like. Just want to give you don't really need a fancy officer when you first started. So we started from home base in Taman Pulai Utama, Johor Bahru. Then we have a shop lot upstairs first. Then we go to the downstairs. And 2018, we have 1 factory. 2020, we have 2 factories. 2022, next year or the following, we plan to move to a 1-acre factory. So this is some of the plan and vision that we plan to have. K3, again, this is the ongoing. I have 3 students, Kaiwon, Jason, and Marvin. They're actually fully sponsored by Christ. The whole idea is to solve the predictive maintenance using AI. So this is their master project. After they complete, they're going to form a company to do the job, just like what Kang Seng happening. So again, this is a model that I've been working on my student. And this is the recent one. Astro came to us and to do some shooting on the entrepreneurial journey from the student and lecturer. And this is some of the outcome of the project. Yeah. So then, like I mentioned, in university, we have cut a ton of the resources. And one of the more important resources in businesses is the talent. So here I actually come up with this IROS together with a student 2 years ago to build an organization to focus on AI, that is artificial intelligence. The middle ROS is robotic operating system, and the T stands for IoT, so that we can make the talent relevant to our industry. And this is where in 2019 and 2020, even 2021, we're still doing constant meeting to update. So what is the purpose is we actually learning ourselves to join competition, and I mentor some of them. And I bring them to industry, train them, and we actually won some award. Top right is the NI Robotic. We joined the first time, we won the first and the second runner up. And then the Great Lab Challenge, we won 3,000, the first prize. On the bottom left is the first prize for another Grand Challenge competition. And right bottom, we actually send our student all the way to Indonesia to learn about AI machine learning. So we don't just limit in Malaysia, we want to see globally. So that is a IROS motivation. Yeah, so that basically going to end my presentation. I'd like to conclude. So the first one, it seems tough for an academician or students to venture to entrepreneurship. But in fact, in my opinion, university has some of the great resources available. Number one is talent, funding, innovation culture, and network, and there are many more. Third, the top 5 traits of an entrepreneur. Let's say you want to become an entrepreneur, you need to have these 5. The vision, you need to see very far, work ethic, resilient, positive, and passion. And then there are 10 types of innovation, because more of a thing are only one, but it's not. As an entrepreneur, as a leader of the company, a leader of a startup, you need to encourage innovation in your businesses. And SRI NABC is a great tool for pitching. There's a lot of tools out there. I found this is quite useful. Of course, you can use whatever you think that is important, as long as you don't pitch, fundamental research to the investor. You need to pitch a business pitching to the investor. So I back to the question, university research and entrepreneurship, is it a match in heaven? So in my personal opinion, for the last 1 hour when I do the sharing, I think actually it has a perfect match, a lot of resources. But of course, there's a lot of challenges that actually to reach that. So if you still remember this so-called picture, where you are now, where you want to be, forget about all the options that you have. I mean, again, you have gazillion option for you to build a startup. But first, you really need to make your first move. Thank you very much. My name is Yong, and you can contact me at this email. Thank you.